Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Fate's Nonsense Ninjago Rants. I shared that I was doing a full rewatch of Ninjago a couple weeks ago, as I realized there were quite a few seasons I hadn't rewatched in a while, and man, some of them for good reason. One of those seasons is Season 6, Skybound. Let's talk about it. First of all, I find that the whole season has a weird feeling of mischaracterizing the ninja. Scenes like this one just feel off to me.
My logic parameters do not allow me to understand the full extent of a wish, but I am curious where you are going with this.
Kai, you and your sister see what else is out there.
We may have a djinn on our hands.
A djinn?
Like a genie. Only when he grants you wishes, you'll be wishing you never met him.
What else do we know about Jin?
Not much. Just that they are very sneaky and have great power.
Like, that doesn't feel like the team I've been watching for 5 seasons, if you get what I'm saying. Throughout the season, they're making fun of Nia, and the writers try to play it off as just teasing, but it really feels more like they're just being mean. The team just feels kind of disjointed and not really like themselves, and I think it's because they push Jay into the spotlight. Yes, Jay is a great character, but when he's the sole focus, man, does his story suffer quite a bit. Jay is extremely unlikable in this season, lying to his friends and being possessive over Nia after she already turned him down. He's crashing out all the time, which, yeah, I love his crash outs in small doses, but in Skybound, it's just overdoing it. The season also cuts down the team one by one until Jay is eventually the only one left to save the day. The loss of the team dynamic throughout a majority of the season makes this season suffer in my eyes. I like how he leads the Ninja Replacements team, but other than that, there isn't much I like about him being the main character of this season. I always see people saying they feel bad for him having to collect the Tiger Widow venom, but no, he deserved that. He was being so reckless. Like, maybe think about the team instead of your obsessive crush for once. I feel bad for him when he's captured by Nauticon, but not when he's on the island. He needed to get some karma for all of the infuriating things he did. Honestly, maybe if the season had a better plot, it wouldn't feel so weird having him be the main character, but in the case of the plot we got, he just does not fit the role of main character well. Sorry, Jay. The season's plot starts off so strangely. The ninja are major celebrities all of a sudden, which doesn't really make sense because they've saved Ninjago like a million times before season 5, so why is it the defeat of Moro and the ghosts that pushes them into celebrity status now? The first episode also ends with the public turning on the ninja immediately when Nauticon frames them for multiple crimes. I believe that the citizens of Styx wouldn't like the ninja, but the way the whole of Ninjago turns on them in an instant? Yes, celebrities in reality can go from love to hated very fast, but the way this happens in the show feels too instant and too unbelievable. Also, these people have seen the ninja save Ninjago with their own eyes multiple times. Why would they be so easily convinced that they would commit petty crimes? Nauticon manages to steal the realm crystal and use it to bring back his crew, except for his love, Delara, which I don't really get what they are to each other. Jay says Nauticon never actually loved Delara, but then Nauticon's acting like he's happy to see her when she possesses Nia, so which is it? Did he actually love her, or was he always using her? Which one are we supposed to believe? Seriously. Also, Nauticon didn't know she was dead until Klaus released him from the teapot. So, how does Flintlock know? When Nauticon brings him back, he says, "My regrets, Delara is not here to see this." How does he know she died? Anyway, after the crew is all reunited, Nauticon says that he wants to go back to his home realm and that he doesn't want to stay in Ninjago because pirates are forgotten. When they use the realm crystal to go to his home realm Jinjago, however, they discover that it is falling apart. His dad is just there, conveniently right where Nauticon and the crew show up. Apparently because the ninja destroyed the cursed realm, that means Jinjago is being destroyed as well. And that begs the question, how long ago were the events of season 5? Why is the realm just now falling apart? It must not have been that long, or the writers just didn't consider the timeline. The Sword of Souls is also a really creepy concept, honestly. Nauticon says he can feel the people's life force in the sword, and that's weird. That makes me feel weird. Anyway, he decides they will go back to Ninjago so he can get revenge on the ninja. And that means ripping apart Ninjago and creating his own aerial world, as well as capturing the ninja's life forces to add to the Sword of Souls. I like the idea of him creating his own world in the sky, but other than that, I really don't care about his plan. Nauticon is my least favorite villain from all of Ninjago. He's boring, creepy, and I feel no sympathy for him. And once they bring in the whole Nia and Delara thing into the plot, man, has it lost me. I'm done at that point. Like, whose idea was it to have the young main female character be pursued by a creepy old man? And whose idea was it to make that her first plot as a ninja? That just feels like a slap in the face. Not only to Nia, but to every female fan of Ninjago. The way they treat Nia as a new ninja, and just as a character in general this season, is awful to me. The season starts with Dareth being incredibly sexist to her, which, why? Why do we need him to become a sexist jerk all of a sudden? I've never been the biggest fan of Dareth, and this season honestly makes me not like him anymore. Every character acts so weird towards her. Misako tells her to enjoy having harmful stereotypes thrown at her, like, why? That is absolutely the wrong message to be sending. The ninja are all playfully calling her Delara and sweetheart, and teasing her in a way that comes across really mean and uncomfortable to me. Jay and Lloyd defend her in the first episode, but then throughout the rest of the season they shift into this mean tone, and Kai, her brother, doesn't even try to help her once. Also, what is up with this?
How's Nia? Boy, I missed her.
It's largely assumed that Nia is a teenager, and even if she was an adult, she's still too young for this guy who's like middle-aged, and it grosses me out beyond measure that they keep pushing this Ronin likes Nia thing. Like, just stop. Why is this whole season about adult men crushing on a young girl? It just makes me so upset that this is the direction they took Nia as soon as she becomes a ninja, which had been long awaited at that point.
When am I gonna get my own dragon?
Patience, Nia. Your time will come.
As the season progresses, we see Jay keep trying to get Nia to fall for him again, despite her telling him that she just wants to be friends. And then eventually we get this scene where Nia explains that she doesn't want to be defined by someone else. She doesn't want to be defined by her brother or her relationships, she wants to be her own person. Even though she does say, I want to be defined by who I'm fighting.
Look, I'm already the girl ninja, but my role in the team shouldn't be defined by who I'm seeing, but who I'm fighting.
Which I think is dumb. She should have just said she wants to be defined by who she is, not by anyone else, because that line is still implying she wants to be defined by someone else, even if it is an enemy. They try to act like they're writing an awesome girl power story for Nia, but no, it accomplishes the exact opposite. The whole season ends up playing out in the exact contradiction of what she said she wanted. She's the damsel in distress and Jay has to save her. I don't feel like they actually care about Nia as a character this season. Or maybe in general. It just seems like a Jay glazing season where everything he does is allowed to be let slide because he likes his girl. It's very infuriating to watch. Nauticon is eventually able to capture Nia because she honestly just allows herself to be captured. She lets Jay escape with the Traveler's Tea so he can save her. Why not just let Jay get captured and he could have made his final wish? This part of the season makes no sense. Nauticon's main goal is to marry Nia so he can have unlimited wishes. And first of all, it was bad enough he even was romantically interested in her at all, but now they're adding marriage to the mix? That is so awful. Every scene with Nauticon and Nia makes me so uncomfortable. I don't get how they could write this plotline and this awful dynamic into a kid's show. The wedding scene is so weird too, because Nia doesn't even say I do, but somehow they're still pronounced married. I don't think that's how it works. Then he uses his wishes to allow Delara's spirit to possess Nia, and oh my gosh, this makes it even more uncomfortable. I hate it so much. So eventually, Flintlock shoots Nauticon with the Tiger Widow venom. Oh yeah, Nauticon's crew realize he sucked and joined the ninja, which is an okay plotline, I guess. Once Nauticon is hit with the poison, he's weakened and all of his wish magic starts to fall apart, which means that Delara unpossesses Nia, and Nauticon's aerial world starts to fall back to the ground. Once Nia gains her consciousness back, they realize she was also hit with the venom, and since it's fatal to humans, she's gonna die. I do like this scene. It is very emotional and sweet, and when I watch it, I just think more about early Jay and Nia than the messy relationship they've had in this season and since season 3. I like how the season ends with Jay making his last wish, reversing time so that none of this stuff ever happened, even though Jay and Nia both remember it. Things have gotten too insane by the end of the season, like, Lloyd is Colonel Sanders, for goodness sake. I can't picture how the season could end any other way. And if any season was going to end with a reversal of events, I would prefer for it to be the extremely misogynistic one. I don't think the way they got Jay and Nia back together was good. I wish it was done any other way. Nia admits in The Last Resort that she actually does still want to be with Jay, but she wishes she had the chance to have any say in how they get back together, if they ever do. I don't mind this because I do find it believable that Nia does still like Jay, but she didn't want to get back together with him because she wanted to be her own person. But it's just all the misogynistic and overbearing stuff Jay does earlier in the season that just makes me dislike the whole arc overall. I like Jay and Nia as a couple, but honestly, only certain eras of Jay and Nia. Season 3 to Season 6, Jay and Nia just really disappoint me. One of the so-called lessons this season reiterates is, if you want something bad enough, find a way to make it happen. They use this line in reference to a few different things, but in one scene, Cole says this line in reference to Jay lying to Nia by making wishes to try and get her to like him. Which, what kind of lesson is that? If a girl rejects you, you find a way to make it happen? That's a horrible lesson. Yes, I like Jay and Nia together, but no, I don't care if you're soulmates. The stuff Jay does this season is so unacceptable, considering Nia made it clear she didn't want to be in a relationship with him. I don't buy that Cole would ever believe that baloney that Jay deserves to be with Nia just because he wants it really bad. Like, the mischaracterization this season is so atrocious. This may be hard to believe, but I don't completely hate Skybound. There's actually a few things I do like about the season. As I said earlier, I like the scene at the end of the last episode where Nia is hit with a Tiger Widow venom. I also like the Ninja Replacements team. It was fun to see all those side characters interact with each other and help with the main mission. I think Captain Soto is the MVP of this season because he made me laugh the most. I do like some of the side villains, such as Clancy and Flintlock. I think they had some potential to be interesting characters, but they just aren't used to that full potential. At least they have distinctive personalities that make me want to learn more about them. That can also be attributed to the shorts that came out before the season as well. I also think this season has some of the funniest jokes in the show.
Hey, it's Captain Soto, the first captain of the Destiny's Bounty!
And it's Jay, the whiny, sniveling blue pajama man who says everything obvious.
Why can't anyone here be nice?
Come with me. Quietly. Are you kidding me?
But then again, it also has jokes like these.
Why is it all sea vessels or she's?
I don't know. Because it takes a lot of paint to make them look good?
And I know they played this joke off like Cole is just teasing, but I really can't take that joke in a humorful manner because of the misogynistic undertones of the entire season.
Cute haircut, but you could use a trim! We fight like girls, not like cheaters.
Like, what does that line even mean? The whole season just really proves that the original writers of the show didn't understand how to write female characters. It seems like every female character is being talked down to in this season, and it's really irritating. For example, when Jay lands at his parents' junkyard, there's a really strange dialogue between Ed and Edna where he thinks that Edna wouldn't want him to help Jay. When did she ever imply that? This scene just feels really awkward and out of character to me, like they wanted a reason for Ed to get cross with Edna. Why? Let's just go over a few more thoughts I had about this season. The book. Everything from this book is so freaking annoying. To viewers over the age of 12, it's glaringly obvious this book is giving horrible sexist advice, but I don't think young viewers would catch on to that. Like, what are they trying to teach young boys? To lie to every girl they like? And the most infuriating part is, when Jay uses the advice from this book, it works. Like, pretty much every time, until he eventually gets called out. But in the moment, it works. What is that telling young boys? They're gonna see this scene, think, oh look, Nia's impressed with Jay, he's gonna get the girl he likes, I should do that too if I like a girl. And not even question if the advice Jay was following was even good. Awful, awful decision.
Fear isn't a word where I come from.
Thanks, Dad. I owe you one.
At one point, Jay calls Nauticon,
silky-voiced seducer.
And I actually grimaced when I heard that rewatching this season. The fact those words are even in a kid's show is outrageous to me. There's a shot straight out of my nightmares at the end of the episode The Last Resort. I hate that shot. Zane's reaction to Echo Zane is way too nonchalant. He just meets a straight up duplicate of himself and he isn't shocked or concerned at all. He's just like, oh, another me, okay, whatever, yay. Like, what? Be a little shocked, man. There's 2 line reads in this season in particular that actually made me rewind and listen to it again because I literally thought I imagined them.
Looks like someone has a death wish.
What are you looking at?
The way Nauticon says this line is so bizarre, and the way Jay just turns feral when he says his line is so out of nowhere when you're watching the season, like binging it. I mean, it's understandable for the situation, but the way he says it just caught me off guard when I was watching. Anyway, that was my rant on Season 6 of Ninjago Skybound. This season is a mess. I don't know how a lot of the things that are in this season were even allowed, but somehow they were, and somehow my eyes and ears were exposed to it. I really wasn't looking forward to rewatching this season. The switch from Season 5 to Season 6 was like whiplash, going from such a great season to one of the absolute worst. Like, how do you do that? I don't get how that happened. However, I honestly was pleasantly surprised by a few things, like Captain Soto being so funny and Clancy, but for the most part, I was just reminded even more why I don't like this season. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.